Hello, everybody, and welcome to a special edition of the Great Iron Power Hour After Hours, the very first one of the new year. I am your host, Justin Fitzgerald, and today we're going to talk about accepting responsibility for what your actions do on and off the field. But like I said, this is the Great Iron Power After Hours. We do more than just talk football. Like women's football, we talk about football in general and what it encompasses in life. What you do on the field reflects who you are off the field. For example, Dwayne Haskins of the Washington Redskins was let go earlier this week on Monday for his actions that he not only violated two COVID-19 protocols and broke them, he did subpar under Ron Rivera. Ron Rivera went to Dan Snyder and said, "You let this team down. It's up to you to do what you think is right and what you need to do." Also, along with accepting responsibility, what he did to get kicked off his own team was the simple fact that it's COVID. There is COVID-19 going on. You're going to get people you know and love, but at risk by not doing social distancing and wearing a mask. And two, the thing that he did that caused him to get in trouble for not wearing a mask was doing his girlfriend's birthday party and having a whole bunch of people around. Social distancing is one of the safe ways that we can combat COVID-19. The other one, and it's not hard at all, people. I know most of you don't like doing it, but it's got to be done. Just put the fucking thing on. That's all. Put it on and go about your day. You don't have to be a big ass baby about it. This right here can save your life. This is what stands between you going to the house. This thing is only stands between you winding up in ICU or winding up 6 feet under. Because either way, both ways suck. And they suck major balls. Just put the fucking mask on. Don't whine about it. Don't complain about it. Don't bitch about it. Just put the damn thing on. Trust me. You will live in the long run. And speaking of which, like I said, you gotta accept your actions for what you do on and off the field. Now, if you were listening to the very last live podcast that we did a couple of weeks ago about consequences and repercussions, you might have heard me bring up the name Emmanuel Duran, the Eatonburg High School senior line defensive back who made himself very famous by doing something very infamous. That infamous thing he did, knocked down the referee by tackling him to the ground. It wasn't so bad as just tackling him to the ground. The bad part about it is the guy he tackled is 40 years older than he is. He's 18. The man he tackled was a 58-year-old referee. Not only were there college scouts there, the head of the UIL, which is the Unified Inter-Athletic League of Texas, was there too. So was your principal. Consequences and repercussions. You are an upperclassman. You are a senior. You are supposed to be a leader. your teammates hold you to a high standard of a conduct of being a good athlete on and off the field, of being a good sport. What people have saw online on YouTube back in December, that was not a young man who's showing good sportsmanship and leadership. That was a young man showing his damn ass, blindside tackling a 50-year-old football referee, got himself yanked out of the game, and got himself put in handcuffs and went to jail. Not only did it cost him, it cost him the rest of his senior season. It cost their football team their season. You have to be responsible for what you do. It's as simple as that. The rest are doing their damn job. If it was a bullshit call that the ref called on you, please don't act like a jackass. Because what you do is going to come back and bite you. In Emmanuel Dorian's case, it cost him a lot more than he thought. He got himself put in jail, bailed out on a $10,000 bond, has to go to court. He'll have this on his permanent record. And he can forget about playing football or wrestling or doing wrestling, wrestling team, or playing soccer. Because all his actions of conduct on becoming an athlete is going to follow him wherever he decides to go to college. And it's going to stick with him. I also brought to attention of what he did during his 2019-2020 senior year on the soccer field. He blindsided an official there, and he got suspended off the team by the head coach. Because the head coach told him, he is a senior. You are supposed to be a leader. You're supposed to be an example of good sportsmanship and integrity. What you did not only disrespectful, but downright bullheaded, dumb, and fucking stupid. And then we're going to fast forward to the playoff games in Season 6, Division 1 of the South Texas High School Football League. High school football. Excuse me, folks. It was Edinburgh versus San Juan, Parma, and Parma San Juan Alamo High School. There was 2 unsportsmanlike penalty calls against Duran, and both of them got him tossed out the game. The unsportsmanlike conduct call is the call that he did not like. And instead of walking off the field and taking it, he decides to put his helmet down and, like an idiot, blindsides the ref. The ref didn't get back up again. The man was 58 years old. Emmanuel Dorian is only 18. He had no reason, and I do mean none, to do what he did to an official who's just doing his job. And coaches, you got to hold yourself in account here, because coaches, you're not exempt either. The Edinburgh Bulldogs football coach had done nothing to discipline Duran. The Edinburgh Consolidated Independent School District had to, along with the University of Inter-Athletic League of Texas, they handed out judgment. He's done, period. That means he's not playing football no more either. He's not going to be able to wrestle, and he's not going to be playing soccer. any chances of him actually getting into college on those scholarships just went out the window because of that bullheaded move. Not only did he cost himself his senior athletics season on all three teams, his actions had led to the whole football team getting punished for what he did. And that was they got kicked out of the playoffs. So the team they just beat now wins the game by forfeit and is in the playoffs. Eatonberg was done because of him. Emmanuel Duran doesn't know when he has to go to court, but a couple of weeks ago, right before the Christmas holidays, he took to YouTube. He sent out an apology to the referee that he had tackled so viciously and so wrong. Send it to his teammates, his community, and the school, how he let them down. This is what this podcast is about, accepting responsibility for what you do. Because the sooner you do that, the better off and the more better you be. So Emmanuel Duran took the first step, accepting responsibility. He also admitted, I wish I could have did something different. I wish that I hadn't lost my temper the way I did. And I wish I hadn't did to the referee that I did that night. That's one of the few things that I came to regret. Not only did my actions cost me valuable scholarship opportunities, cost me my whole athletic career, I cost my football team a chance to be in the playoffs. But the thing is, he's not the only one who got punished. The Edenburg head football coach also got punished and put on probation for the very next 2 years, as well as the athletic director, while his offensive coordinator is the interim head coach for the next 2 years of this team's football year. The underclassmen, the juniors who are on that roster, are now going to be upperclassmen. And now they're going to have to reflect and think differently on what they all have to do so that doesn't happen again. Because you cannot. And where's Kofi Kingston? One of the greatest wrestlers, by the way. And he said this. You cannot do that to someone who is working. I mean, what are you really trying to do? Are you trying intentionally to get yourself arrested? I'm also going to tell you about the Armed Forces Bowl between Mississippi State and Tulsa that wound up in a brawl, which wound up with the head coach and one of the wide receivers from Tulsa in the hospital. Apparently, there was some heated words between Tulsa and Mississippi State before the game even started. And when the game went on, it got worse. And by the time the game was over, it came to a head, and there was a big human dog pile. The Tulsa head coach and the freshman Tulsa wide receiver were underneath that dog pile. It wound up with a concussion, so they were in the hospital under concussion protocol. I'm probably guarantee you the NCAA don't look at this. There's going to be fines and suspensions handed down to both teams. And also in actually pro football news, we'll get more to back in college, but we want to go to the pros right quick. Besides the news of Dwayne Haskins losing his starting job at Washington, they got him cut at near the tail end of the season. Phillip Rivers might be retiring after this season. He might retire playing for the Indianapolis Colts. It boils down to this. If you want, it all comes down to what you have to think about and what you try and have to do. For example, there are a lot of athletes today, and most of them do take responsibility, and some don't. Some refuse to take responsibility. For example, Ndamukong Suh, who's still arguably one of the dirtiest players in the league, is trying to curb his bad attitudes when it comes to playing on a team. Remember, he started out with the Lions, then went to the Bucks, and then went to the Redskins. All because his bad attitude was getting him into trouble. And then there was also the Rodney Harrison rule. Rodney Harrison did have to admit that what he was doing, all the horse color penalties that he done over the years, there's a reason why you were not allowed to do them anymore. Because pulling on a horse collar is going to literally, totally, and 100% going to get them killed. And it's no joke. And like I say, you do have to accept responsibility of what you do and what you say on and off the field. And speaking of off the field, and this is totally unfootball related, and this is also like social injustice. And many people of you know of the man named Keon Harold Sr. The kid in this video is his namesake, his son Kenyon Jr. The woman in the video, and I'm pretty sure most of you have seen it, and we're going to call her Soho Karen, went to the Arlo Hotel, went to Keon Harold Jr., and demanded that you give me back the phone. He told her, "This is not your phone. My phone has a case. This is mine. You think your phone is the only iPhone they make? Apple's been making iPhones for years." And it's... And I know it's just 2021 and we just started the new year, but already stupid things keep on happening in sports, especially in college bowl games right now. To go from one college bowl to another one, here's a question that most of you might want to ask yourselves. How in the heck do a college team who just won the championship trophy for their school break it? No. But the thing is, I know there's a lot of things most people would be grateful for, but the thing is, I'm going to be serious for you just for a minute. I mean, 2020 has taken so much from everybody. COVID-19 hitting, how Donald Trump mishandled the whole pandemic by thinking it was a hoax, which led to people not wearing masks and go whoop to whoever they want. As I said it before, and I'll say it again, and I told you this at the top of the hour about Dwayne Haskins, why he got fired. Because he wasn't wearing one of these. Like I said, this is what is going to keep you out of the ER and keep you 6 feet above ground. There's no reason to buck the system, not wear this, and thinking it's a joke. Trump thought it was a joke until he got himself infected. He thought it was a joke until one of the members of his personal staff got infected. And now, with all lawsuits no longer an issue, since all of them basically got yanked out of the Supreme Court, not once, not twice, but over 60 times and counting. Some of the Republicans ain't got no other choice. They can try protesting all you want. It's not going to make a difference. And some of them are not changing their mind. Biden is the winner. Biden will be certified in the Electoral College on Tuesday. His inauguration will be 15 days after that. Trump, you can make this thing all you want to, but the fact of the matter will be this. You're going to have to accept the responsibility for what you did, or in this case, what you didn't do. Number one is how you handled the virus, COVID-19. How you seem to think that a mask ain't going to protect you. That's where you're wrong. COVID-19 has taken many people's lives away. For example, it took Amanda's husband, Amanda Fields. Now I remember, y'all might not remember who she is, but most of you remember who her late husband was. Her late husband was Broadway star Nicholas Cordero, and one of the first celebrity COVID-19 casualties. But here's the thing, and it's worse than you think. And people have been asking Trump, please, let them do a vaccine. People need to be healthy. People need to be well. People need to have a livelihood. I don't even, and like I said, this world probably gonna went to heck in a handcart. Well, let me rephrase that. Went to hell in a handcart without gas, when gasoline draws on, and all you gotta do is light the goddamn match and watch it burn. That's how ridiculous it is. So you see, whether you like it or not, how you do on and off the field reflects totally on your character and how that person trusts you. Now, here's also another thing. Man, but it's ridiculous. See, the more people think about it, the more difficult it is to be understood and trusted. Also, for example, on Christmas Day, Alvin Kamara of the New Orleans Saints got fined $5,000 for wearing Christmas tree themed cleats. And he got fined an additional $6,000 for doing the same thing in 2017. But he said that is okay because their fines are going to be given to charity. So for those of you, the winner of a saint, the Son of a Saint organization is what Alvin Kamara is doing this for. Because many people had picked him as a fantasy player. And he raised 20 grand for all of them. And that's a pretty accomplishing feat. And he said he accepted the responsibility that he wore shoes that are not the color of his uniform. You can't do that. The only time we can wear shoes that are not considered uniform, it will be underneath a special organization that was dedicated to the armed services called My Cleats, called My Job, my cleats. So I'm pretty sure most of y'all reigned in the new year getting drunk as a skunk. I'll tell you the truth, I reined it in too. I had 2 glasses of vodka orange juice. And unlike most people who are lightweights when it comes to drinking, I drink those and it doesn't seem to affect me because I keep thinking 80 proof vodka would be like 80 proof tequila. All it's going to do is not make me drunk. And don't. And I'm saying to say this, then most of you people are thinking I'm crazy. Nah, it's facts. So, whether you like it or not, it's here to stay. Now, many people on YouTube has been making a meme out of Josh Norman already. Yeah, we get it's funny. We also get the man got his soul sticked in the shadow realm. So that's what we know. Now, as you well know, Alabama Crimson Tide have proven themselves once again why they're the number 1 team in the country. And for those of you who are going to watch Sunday's the NFL last game of the NFL regular season, there are several games you got to watch out for. There are the title hunts in the AFC South and the NFC East. And one of those titles is the Titans and the Colts, the tiebreakers in the division. So we want to jump into one of them, which will be the Titans and the Texans. It's a 10-5 Titans versus the 4-11 Texans. And with the spread in Vegas, Tennessee is up, look like the 7.5 underdog, which means they're going to ask, well, running back Derrick Henry topped the 2,000 rushing yards for the season. He's already at 1,777 entering. He's about 223 yards short and facing a number 31 ranked run defense team because they're dead last. In his last 2 games against the Texans, he has more than running 200 rushing yards. Here's the bold prediction. Titans quarterback Ryan Tannehill will have 300 passing yards, and both AJ and Corey will get the necessary productions to cross a 1,000 receiving yard plateau for that season. They will take advantage of a Texans pass defense that allowed only 6.7 yards per completion, and the NFL worst 69.8 completion rate to the opposing quarterbacks. Here's the stats you need to know. The Titans have 15 sacks this season, the fewest sacks by the team to make the playoffs in a 16-season game is 19. That was done by the 79 Broncos. And only 4 teams have finished with a 16 season with 16 or less sacks. Here's the draft picture. The AFC South is still up run. It's only between the Titans and the Colts, though. The Titans can clinch it when they win or if the Colts lose. So if they lose and then the Colts turn around and they lose, guess what? The Titans have the AFC South and the Colts get sent packing. But they also can simply clinch a playoff berth with the loss from the Ravens or the Dolphins. What does it say? What's the FPI say? They got a 92.3% chance to make the playoffs and 64% chance to win the AFC South. The Texans are truly playing for nothing. Win or lose, they are already eliminated from the playoffs, but they also don't have the first round draft pick For what it's worth, the original pick traded to Miami is currently projected to be number 4 overall. With 63.1% launch shot, ended up in the top 5. That's rough. Here's some injuries. Here's what you need to know. The running backs on the sideline get major headlines, but David Johnson has quietly himself posted 2 of his best games of the season. Past 2 weeks, 28.4 yards last week against the Bengals. Here's the betting nugget. In Tannehill's start since the beginning of last season, the Titans are 24-1. All-time season. Now, Barbershop and Davenport both picked the Titans to beat the Texans. And here's the thing. The Titans have to start early in the season to win the AFC South. What rents on Texans' lack of professionalism, feels bad with fans, and Cooks shows a loss why Texans should find a way to keep them. So this is what you know. And the Colts is facing up against the Jags. The question is, how will the Colts' offensive tackles match up against the pass rushers? Yes, they will have starting right tackle Brandon Smith back for the game after he was on the COVID list. But they're still home on the left side. Anthony Costanzo messed up his ankle, and so they will hold him. They gave up a season-high 5 sacks against Pittsburgh and went 16. There's no better way for the Jaguars to boost their woeful sack numbers, which is why they got 18 of the season, than going up against the backup left tackle, Mike Wells. Here's a bold prediction for the Ravens, for the Jags Colts game. The Jags will sack Phillip Rivers at least 3 times. He's been sacked 19 times this season and has the ability to get the ball out quickly is a hard part of it. But with Costanzo out, the Jags will be home. Rookie defensive end Clavon Chasen has come on late in the season, recording 11 of his 20 quarterback pressures in the last 4 games. So they got a 92.9 passer rating. And currently, they're on the outside looking in. The only way that the Titans will lock up the number 4 seed is they win against the Texans tomorrow. But like I say, some of them games you do got to watch out for. And some of them games, well, you just be lucky it'll be fun to watch them at all. Because people still protesting that the NFL betrayed the flag. Folks, wake up, smell the placenta, get your hands out of your asses, and untie your dicks. Their protesting is never about the flags. It's about the racial injustice. And here's a big old history fact. The piece of cloth means jack shit. The words on the Constitution mean more than anything. And you know it. Hello? All right. So, that's another history fact for you. Trump won't accept responsibility for what he hadn't done during his presidency. All he did was make his supporters like him more and make the whole country hate him way more. So this past November, the country has spoken. It's time for a change. He's got to go. It's not if, but when. It's how he's going to go. See, when Trump had pardoned his allies that helped him get to the White House, he actually did the worst thing he could have possibly done, and that was nullified their Fifth Amendment right to refuse to answer a question that will self-incriminate themselves. And see, because of that, they now ain't got no choice but to answer those questions or risk going to jail permanently. I'm going back to jail, that is. So I'm going to wrap it up here tonight. Join me next Friday for part 2 of this very special one about accepting responsibility, and it's going to be titled, this one's called Accepting Responsibility for Your Actions. This one's called the dangers of not following through. So until next time, I'm Joshua Fitzgerald, and I'll see you next Friday.